do some let's do some wedding drama. 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 Today we're going to go through some wedding drama stories from Reddit. Without further ado, let's get into it. My father is not invited to my wedding. I, 23 female, and my fiance, 25 male, are getting married in October of this year. Congratulations! Hope it goes well for you. We met in college and started dating shortly after I ended up getting stationed at the same duty station as him. We are both active duty military and are on different training cycles, so wedding planning has been difficult to say the least. But we have been on the same page every step of the way. We are planning a smaller wedding of 50 guests at the maximum. He is PCSing in November to NC, and we are also in the process of closing on a house. We have some expenses coming up with all of this happening at the same time. I guess I was a little naive to expect there to be no drama regarding my wedding. 50 guests is not a lot when you factor in our wedding party, 9 people plus their spouses, and both sides of our families and the few friends we could fit on the guest list. I am fortunate that all of my grandparents are still living. Oh, lucky you, that's beautiful. Not everybody is as lucky as you. So that's nice that you're fortunate enough to have both your grandparents there. So I assume that they're also going to be there, that you're going to want them to be there, and they're going to be part of your 50 wedding guests. And that I have relationships with them and my aunts and uncles. My fiance does not have any living grandparents. My side of the family has taken up most of the guest list. The drama with the guest list has been on my side of the family, and the root cause is that my father is not invited. Ooh, what did your father do to not get invited? Let's see. For background, my father has issues with anger, money, and alcohol. And while we had some great times and a good relationship most of my life, he has done some things that have fractured this relationship. I put myself through college with scholarships, and I worked full time when I was home on breaks to cover my expenses for the most part. On New Year's Day, my senior year of college, I came home from an 8-hour shift at the kennel I worked at. My father got upset at me for asking him to let me sit down and have some quiet time after cleaning up after the dogs all day because he was blasting music. He had an outburst and proceeded to call me a C word, I will not be saying that on YouTube, and kick me out of the house. 6 months later, my parents divorced, but it was a long time coming. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, though, because my mother refused to be put in a situation where she had to choose between having a relationship with my brother and I or having a relationship with my father, who would treat us the way he did. After this happened, any contact I had with my father was from me reaching out. It took my father a whole year to reach out to me on Christmas Day after I graduated college and was at my first duty station. He cried on the phone and told me he would do anything to fix our relationship. He slowly started coming back into my life by sending texts and calling once and a while, and things were getting better. He slowly started coming back into my life by sending texts and calling once in a while, and things were getting better. He even met my fiance when we moved in together. But then, right before we got engaged, I started seeing things on social media that my dad had been liking, following, and commenting on. I learned my father was into 18 and 19-year-old girls and would make comments about being interested in being their baby daddy. Ooh, oh no. Oh, that's just wrong on so many levels. Oh, no. It sickened me. Oh, it sickens me. Oh my gosh. You poor thing, OP. It sickened me and made me rethink every time I brought a friend home throughout high school and college. I don't think he ever said or did anything, but the things he liked and commented are on public on social media, and it was very unsettling. Yeah, it would have been. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, OP. He didn't even... Oh, sorry. I screenshotted what I saw and sent it to my father and let him know that this was unacceptable and public. He didn't even acknowledge it. It wasn't until I stopped responding to anything that he finally called and said he unfollowed all of the OnlyFans girls and took down his social media and apologized. He asked if I even loved him anymore, and I said, honestly, I don't know. But I told him I don't hate him. I just wished he was better. After that call, I had a suspicion and asked my fiance to look up my father's account on social media. He found it. My father blocked me so I wouldn't see anything anymore and lied about taking accountability and fixing the situation. His lack of accountability for things has been a common trend of my whole life. Yeah, I wouldn't invite your father to your wedding either. My goodness. Fast forward to the past month. My grandma, father's mother, has been trying to make any excuse to get my father invited to the wedding. She says, who will walk you down the aisle? And I tell her, my brother will. She says, well, your grandpa and I can't handle getting your nana, my 98-year-old great-grandma, to and from the wedding and be able to enjoy it while taking care of her. And I tell her I've already coordinated that my uncle, my father's brother, and that he and my aunt offered to help for the day. She asks why aren't your great aunts and great uncles invited? And I tell her I can only afford to have 50 guests, and that has limited it to immediate family. And my fiance has family too. She has told me that my grandpa, her husband, and my father's father has threatened not to attend the wedding because I can't get over the issues with my father. Okay, don't come. If you're going to support your son, which I get is a parent's job, but if you're going to support the father's decision to go for younger girls and, be obscene and just take no accountability for it and just be the perv, I guess, that he is, and you're okay with that and you don't want to go to the wedding, don't go to the wedding. Simple. That's one less person, one more person you can invite. One person that wants to be there and that you really want to be there that you weren't able to invite can now go. That's fine. Don't go. My grandma has sent me 40+ minute videos of church services talking about forgiveness and that I need to forgive my father. I'm a big believer that you can forgive someone, but that doesn't mean trusting them again and immediately, and that boundaries don't matter. Look, you can forgive somebody, but you can forgive and not invite them to your wedding. They're two different things. You're right. You can forgive and not trust. And that's what this is about. So you can forgive him for doing what he did, but you don't need to invite him. If you don't feel comfortable with him being at your wedding, don't invite him to your wedding. And that should just be that. And your grandma should accept your boundaries that you have set, and don't falter on your boundaries. You've set those boundaries, good for you. I am not a great boundary setter, and it always comes and bites me in the butt at the end of the day. And I wish that I was better at that, and I'm trying. But boundaries do matter. If you set those boundaries, they need to be adhered to. And if your grandfather doesn't want to go there, fine. If the grandma doesn't want to go there because the grandfather doesn't want to go there, fine. See you later. That's 2 extra guests that you can invite that you potentially would have wanted there, and 2 guests that will support you and will not cause drama. Yesterday, she texted me and my aunt and uncle are no longer attending my wedding, and that it should be free, and it should free up room on the guest list for some other family members on my father's side to attend. I called my uncle directly because he had offered to help bring my nana to the wedding, and he didn't answer, but he texted. I'll drop screenshots below. Yes. I'm looking for the screenshot. Oh, no. I am trying to deal with this as diplomatically as possible. I want my father's side of the family there on my wedding day. I don't believe that I should cut my relationships with the entire part of that family because of one person. But my grandma is very manipulative, and I've always known that. I'm curious what she said to my uncle to make him so upset and change his mind on the wedding and not even tell me himself. My fiance said that if it were him, he'd uninvite my grandma. Yes! With how she's making our wedding about what she wants over the situation between my father and I, that she is not a part of it. I just wish that my family would be more understanding about the expenses we have going into the life we are trying to start together. Any advice is welcome. I am open to further questions, clarify anything. Thank you for taking the time to read this. You're so welcome, OP. You are so welcome. In my opinion, I would also uninvite your grandma and your grandfather. If they're not going to be supportive of your decision to not have your dad there, then they don't deserve to be there and witness it either. And as for, I want to know what she said to your uncle to get him to change his mind so suddenly. I would definitely uninvite my grandma and my grandfather, your grandmother and I would definitely uninvite your grandma and your grandfather, and let it be known to your aunt and uncle that you really want them there, because it sounds like you want them there more than your grandma. Well, your grandma is causing issues anyway, so you essentially don't want her there. So uninvite her. Make it clear that you really want your aunt and uncle to be there, and let them know how much it would mean to them, and let them know that they're welcome and your grandma and grandfather are not welcome. And just don't invite family members that you don't want there or that are just going to cause drama. You'll have a much better time there if you have people that you really want there and that are really going to support you and not cause the drama. Let's see what the comments have to say. Uninvite the grandma and stick to your plan of not having your dad there. Yes. Thanks. Uninvite the grandma and stick to your plan of not having your dad there. Yes, that. You can even be polite about it. Send her a note saying, I understand that our wedding may not turn out the way you want it to, and it's probably a good idea for you to skip it. We'll be thinking of you on the big day. That's really nice. Question, is it possible to give those additional spots to friends or family on the groom's side? You should not reward your gram's bad behavior by giving the slots to members on your side. OP, that is the plan. I want my fiance to invite more guests on his side if my family cannot attend, so it's more even. I love that. Compromise. Honestly, inviting more of your fiance's friends should have been the plan all along. It's never fair to have a one-sided wedding where either has little representation nor memories of many others who love them celebrating their big event too. Well, I mean, the fiance might have been happy with that, knowing that she's got more family. She didn't say that, she didn't disclose that, so we don't know, but I'm sure OP and her fiance potentially had a discussion about it before, while creating their invitation lists. I would disinvite the entire grandparent wing because your father is who he is, mainly as a result of whatever they failed to teach him. Now, Jima wants to guilt you with religious sermons of forgiveness while forgetting the most important mandates of family and honor that this wedding should be about. You have done all you could to rebuild a positive relationship with your father while he lied about his actual beliefs and activities all along. That's about as far as forgiveness should go. Your father was and has been a negative presence in yours, and I bet on your brother's life, and continues to act without shame. You can trust that he and possibly his parents will make a scene at the wedding, ruining that is supposed to be yours and your fiance's special day. You will both be on high alert, watching for trouble, accommodating, and hoping to keep things quietly respectful instead of enjoying that special day. You've paid dues as grandchild to this family of ancients who refuse to understand and honor your experience in the household their son built. Honor your soon-to-be husband instead. Build your own positive, uncontaminated tree by leaving them out of this joining event. I could not have said it any better, and in fact, I didn't say it any better. That was great. That was awesome. Honestly, to the next sermon about forgiveness, I would respond, "Hi, Grandma. I appreciate that Honestly, to the next sermon about forgiveness, I would respond, "Hi, Grandma. I appreciate that you want your son to attend, but he has really, really hurt me multiple times over the years. I want my wedding day to be full of love, not painfully struggling to forgive someone who has lied to and abandoned me. If that is not something you can accept and decide not to attend, I completely understand. We will miss you on the day, but your comfort is important to me. I hope my comfort and joy is important to you too." If I was going to be really snarky, I'd just send her the screenshots of what your dad was commenting online, and that's probably a relationship ending. Hang in there, my family is being crazy too. Your fiance loves you and supports you. Don't let the drama distract from that. That is a great response. That is the best response you can potentially give. So all the best, OP, for your wedding. I wish you and your fiance the best of luck in October when you get married, and I hope you have a beautiful life, and don't worry about your family. If you need to cut them out. You'll be better off for it by the sounds of it. Thank you for sharing your story. Best friend breakup. This is an ongoing 10 plus year saga with This is an ongoing 10 plus year saga with my friend 29 female. So I, 27 female, will try to keep this as concise as possible. Thank you. I appreciate that. I have been friends with Anne, fake name, since middle school. She is someone who likes to be the center of attention, and it's an ongoing joke in our friend group that if something isn't about her, she doesn't care about it. I like to blend into the background, so this has never been an issue for me until recently. Additionally, we all believe that she is struggling with some sort of alcoholism. She is unable to match the vibe of any event, and everyone in the group ends up being sober to take care of her. When she drinks, she goes entirely too far and tries to kiss, touch, dance with anyone in her radius. My fiance planned a perfect private proposal, and then we went to a bar afterward and had our friends and family there to celebrate with us. Let me guess, she got drunk and everyone had to look after her and ruined your fiance's perfect proposal. Let's see. Here's where my current issues begins. When we walked into the bar, before I could greet my parents, sister, and his family, Anne ran up to me and hugged me, which I guess is fine and not the biggest deal in the world. However, she was already incredibly intoxicated. I am someone who does not like to be touched by anyone. Same girl, same. I don't either. Including my fiance most of the time. I have severe trauma and cannot handle physical touch, so most of the people at the party just smiled and waved and gingerly held my hand when I was showing off my ring. But not Anne. She was hugging me, pulling on my arm all night, grabbing my hand, touching my face, etc. My other friends attempted to distract her and get her away from me, but she wasn't taking the hint. The same night, she pulled my sister away out of the bar for over an hour to complain about how I haven't cried about her breakup with her boyfriend. They had only dated for about a month, and she has been calling me nightly to talk about breakup for longer than they were dating. When they finally came back in and my fiance's brother asked if my sister is going to be maid of honor, Anne stepped in and said, "Actually, that'd be me. It's not." At this point, I don't want her anywhere near my bridal party. I feel like this is the one time in my life that I should be the center of attention. Correct. You should be the center of attention. It is your wedding. It is your day. And your fiancés, of course. And you two should be the center of attentions. Nobody else. Everybody else, all the guests, take a back seat. And let you shine. And your fiancé shine. And let your love shine through. I feel like this is the one time in my life that I should be the center of attention and don't have to just let someone else into the spotlight. Am I overreacting? No. No, you are not. Not at all. My fiance says that I'm stuck with having her at my party. Why? Why? Don't invite her. Don't invite her. And then you're not stuck with her. If she doesn't get an invite, she can't come. And she can't ruin your wedding or party. And my family says that I should wait until the next event before I talk to her about her drinking habits. Or I guess, is there any advice on how to approach her about her drinking habits? The friend group has mentioned it before, but she cries and says that she must just be the worst person ever. See, I hate that. I hate that. That's so manipulative. No, I don't like that. I don't like that for you at all. And it ends up with us backtracking and telling her she's not a bad person. Look, she's not a bad person. She's just not the best person when she's drinking, and she needs to understand that she's an entirely different person when she drinks, and it ruins everybody else's night out. It doesn't make her a bad person. It just makes her a bad drunk. I'm getting ready to make appointments to go dress shopping, and I truthfully just don't want her there, but I know it will hurt her feelings. Look, you can't worry about her feelings. This is your day. This is yours and your fiance's day. It's your turn to shine. You're in the spotlight. It's your day. You can't be worried about hurting other people's feelings. And I get it, because I'm a people pleaser, and I also would feel bad as well, but does she really need to be a part of your dress shopping? That should just be something that's, intimate with like your mother, your sister, or any of your bridesmaids, and maid of honor, whoever you've decided to choose. You didn't say that you picked her to be a part of your wedding. You said that, your sister is going to be the maid of honor, not Anne. And so therefore she doesn't need to be a part of it. If she catches wind of it, you just say, sorry, it was just for my immediate family, or it's, or you just say it's an intimate, if she catches wind of it, you just say it feels like it's an intimate thing, dress shopping, and you just really wanted to share that with your mum and your sister or whoever else you invited. So you can't really worry about Anne's feelings. If she's going to ruin something, you kind of just don't want her there. Why is everyone tiptoeing around her? You should absolutely not wait to talk to her about her behavior. Your fiance is wrong. You're not stuck with her being in the wedding party. You are getting married, which makes me assume you're an adult. Pull your big girl pants on and talk to her. Sounds like she needs some tough love. And don't let her crocodile tears make you backtrack. Stay firm. Yeah, look, talk to her about her behavior. If she wants to turn it around and get offended and cut you out, you're probably better off for it, honestly, in the long run, than having to tiptoe around somebody that is emotionally manipulative like this. And you know, you don't have to have her in your wedding party. You could choose to have one maid of honor and one bridesmaid, or one maid of honor and that's it. You could also go down the route of having 0 maid of honors and 0 bridesmaids and just walking down the aisle by yourself, or with your father, obviously, but you don't need to have bridesmaids or maid of honors, you know. But if you choose to do that, then you choose who you want and who's not going to be drama. And if you don't want to invite her to your wedding at all, don't invite her to your wedding at all. But you definitely need to have a conversation with her about her behavior, and you can't let her tears, or as this commenter said, her crocodile tears, make you backtrack in your decision. You need to do it. You just need to do it. You need to pull that trigger and you need to tell her. And if she decides that she can't be friends with you or doesn't want to be friends with you because you're picking on her, or, you know, or what did she say? Or you're making her feel like the worst person in the world, then maybe she needs to lose some friends. Maybe that's what she needs to do. Maybe she needs to lose all her friends to realize that, yeah, she does need help and something needs to change. I feel like you need to have a time where you discuss this with her away from everyone. She needs to know what you feel, and if people aren't going to support your wants and needs, and maybe they don't have the best intentions in mind. Don't let her insecurity change and make you feel less important. In another life, I was an Anne when booze was involved, and it always was. There was simply no off switch. If my friends had confronted me about my drinking, I would have reacted defensively to protect my dysfunctional relationship with alcohol. I'm sorry you're dealing with this. Anne needs to hear some uncomfortable truths. She might react poorly, but you are being a good friend by being honest with her. Absolutely. Absolutely agree with that. Have that conversation with her, whether it's all of your friends getting together and having like an intervention, or whether you have that one-on-one discussion. And if she doesn't want to accept the truth, then, and like, if she doesn't want to accept the truth and wants to throw away the friendship because she thinks you're picking on her, then that's her decision. But you need to have that conversation with her. She needs to learn. We've got time. We've got time for one more. Asking to pay for a trip I did not attend. No, you don't pay for a trip that you did not attend. Anyway, let's see. Hi all. I, 25 female, am part of a bridal party for a close friend whose wedding is coming up soon. A few months ago, the maid of honor planned a bachelorette party in another country. Oh, I hate this. Why do we need to go to another country for a bachelorette party? It's expensive. Weddings are expensive. If you're a bridesmaid, if you're a part of the bridal party, it's expensive. You've got to buy your dress, you've got to buy your shoes. You generally have to pay for your hair, your makeup. And then on top of that, you then have to attend a bachelorette party in another country. I hate that for you. Why can we just not? I just hate that in general. Why can we just not have, I hate that. Why can we just not have a party locally? Like go to a bar, go to a club, go to a show, go to, a nightclub, those sorts of things. Go out for dinner, have a nice dinner, have a spa day. Why do we need to go to a different country for a period of time? It's expensive. It is expensive. From the very beginning, I let them know I wouldn't be able to attend due to financial reasons. Yes, not everybody can afford extravagant things. International travel and the associated costs just aren't in my budget right now. Everyone was understanding at the time, or so I thought. The bachelorette trip happened recently, and days after the group got back to the States, the maid of honor sent a message in the group chat, specifically one that included only the bridal party members who did not attend the trip, asking each of us to send $300 so the bride wouldn't have to pay her share of the trip. No, you didn't go. You were up front, and I imagine that the other bridal party members that didn't attend also were up front and said, sorry, we cannot afford it. If not everyone could afford to attend, which, let's be real, not everyone can afford international travel. Not everyone, gets paid thousands, gets paid a lot of money. So not everyone can afford that on top of bills, rent or mortgage, food and everything else that goes with life. Not everyone can afford that. And if there were a few of you from the bridal party that couldn't attend, then they should have just cancelled the overseas trip and done something local. And if they chose not to, then why should you pay for the bride's part of the trip? I get the bride not paying for her share of the trip because it is about her. I understand that. But do something local that's cheaper, that everyone can attend to, and then everybody can then afford to put in some money for that bride. In this case, there was nothing, was changed, and they still went ahead with that international travel, knowing that not all the bridal party could go. I hate that. This completely blindsided me. I never agreed to contribute financially to something I wasn't attending, and at no point during or before the planning did anyone say anything about splitting the bride's cost among people who weren't going. If they had, I would have made it clear that I couldn't afford that either. Yeah, look, there should have definitely have been a discussion prior to going about the potential of covering the bride's cost if they still wanted to continue with going to another country for the bridal party. If there was no why can I not find the words? If there was no what the fuck is the word? Now I'm feeling really weird about the whole thing. On one hand, I get that people want to treat the bride, and if I'd been part of the trip, I might have chipped in with the others to cover some of her expenses. But to ask for that money after the fact from people who didn't even go feels unfair and borderline manipulative. I haven't responded to the message yet and I don't want to cause drama, but I also feel like I shouldn't have to pay for something I didn't attend, especially when I was upfront from the beginning. So, am I the a-hole for thinking it's unfair to ask me to pay $300 for a trip I didn't even go on? I don't think so. I don't think you are. I think it's absolutely fair for you to not want to pay $300 for a trip that you didn't go on, especially when there was no discussion about it beforehand. And I think that they should have changed their plans of not going overseas. Not the a-hole at all. If this was an expectation, this all should have been clearly communicated to all bridesmaids before the trip so people could adjust their budget or opt out in time. For those who didn't attend, you all shouldn't be expected to foot any part of the bill, and anything you decide to gift, if at all, should be considered a kindness. This whole season of expectation around wedding events is becoming so overwhelming. And I feel like you're not going to be the only one that, has an issue with this. So, somebody needs to say something, because chances are the other ones that didn't attend from the bridal party are potentially feeling the exact same way. For real, when did weddings turn into group financial trauma? Like, I love my friends, but not $300 for vibes and guilt. Exactly. Weddings are turning into a mix of reality show and emotional crowdfunding. Love shouldn't come with an invoice for the friends. If saying I do costs everyone else hundreds of dollars, something's gone wrong. Honestly, I think it would just be so much easier to just elope. Just go and elope. You don't have to worry about, guest lists, costs. Just sounds so much easier to me, but I hope you work it out, and I hope that you say something to the maid of honor, because I don't think it's right that she's asking you to pay $300 to I don't think it's right that she's asking you to pay $300 to help the bride for an overseas trip. That was a decision that they obviously made, and they now need to deal with the financial ramifications of that, not the a-hole. That's all we have time for today, but thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please like and subscribe to my channel. I would really, really appreciate it. I hope you all have a wonderful day. See you in the next one. Bye.